Hey guys, MixedGrid here. Got some more GSX8R content for you here. This time, heated grip install on the 8R. Let's get to it. All right, then all it was to get this off is it's a 10 mil on the end. You'll remove this really long, hefty bolt, 10 millimeter Allen, and then pull off your end. And then all this, once you loosen this and pull this guy out, will be loose, and you'll be able to work with it. Again, steer bike all the way right. To remove your OE grip, you actually have to take the 3 screws out of the front here. You'll see there's 3 screws. The bottom one is the longer one. And then you need to turn your steering to the right on an 8R. And then you're gonna slide this as far as you can out. It should have enough wiggle room, especially if you remove this little rubber holder, which goes right here. Kind of holds all these wires together. And that way you will now be able to get the grip completely off and then replace with your new heated grip. Slide it back on. I do want to put out a big warning. Do not loosen any of these screws whatsoever in this area. Those two, these guys, you will mess up your throttle position and that'll be pretty bad, and you'll need recalibration, or you'll possibly break the actual encoder in here altogether. So once you slide all the way off, you'll be able to work your new one in there into the 2 little notches. You'll see there's 2 little notches right there and there. And then your throttle will be inside, so it actually is captivated. It's locked in, so it can't come off. And then you're gonna slide this all back on, put your end back on, and put it back in place. You'll notice on your other side, there is a spot that actually goes into this hole and holds it right there. That little guy, it holds all this from spinning and rotating. Another fun thing to remember, and instruction manual calls it, this needs to be upwards. So if you have it downwards, it'll be facing this way with the wire. That is wrong. It needs to be up and back. Little update to the wiring here. So there should be a nice big loop here, open. There's a white taped spot on the wire, and you need to use, they call it a clamp in the manual, it's a zip tie. Use zip tie so that this white piece should barely be showing out of the bottom here. Really, it could be up a little further, but this is plenty. If you look, it's not going to get bound up. Then please make sure when you turn to the right and the left fully, you're not pulling on the wire when you run it down through here. I routed it with the other wires here, and then used the OE rubber hose holder, we'll say, rubber band type thing. And then we're going to run it along with the other hoses down in here. I've just got it out for now so I don't forget. Now on the left hand side, we won't have, sorry, let's turn it this way. We have to remove our end, and then we actually have to remove the grip it's stuck on. It is not a, it's not like an ODI or anything like, you know, this one kind of is free floating. This obviously isn't free floating, it's stuck. And it's not an ODI where you usually have like a screw to remove and it'll all come off. So we are gonna have to have fun removing this. So per the manual, it calls for a degreaser agent to be able to spray in. So you pull up a bit, spray in there, and hopefully it'll work the glue that they have used free. I've also got some other ways. One of my favorites for dirt bikes has been compressed air. So you cram it into this tip, into here, and then you pressurize it, and it will lift that stickiness off. So you kind of go around, just be nice. We do not want to scuff up or damage the actual metal end. The whole thing is kind of chamfered a bit, so we do not want to damage that. All right, so once our grip is off, which I just use the compressed air to, okay, it kind of breaks all the adhesive free of your grip. You'll see we have adhesive still left on, and the instructions call to get rid of all of this with a degreaser. You could probably use isopropyl alcohol and like simple green is what I'm kind of working with. Otherwise, use your finger here and just roll it, and you'll kind of see it just peels away. So we need to get all of this off though. All right, so we have our new grip. I've gotten the old one off. I removed all the adhesive, almost all I could. And what we have, if you feel the inside of this one, it's a chamfered inside that's rubber, and it is not going to go on here easily. Already kind of stuck. So it calls for you to use some grip adhesive, and I will need to get some. use whatever you like, but it calls for some special stuff, which is just their recommendation. And then there's a way to time this guy. So you want this to be on in a correct positioning, so you won't be able to twist this once it's on. I'm gonna bet that's pretty impossible. So you're gonna want to time it about where they say right off the bat, so it slides straight on. If you do it like this, it might be a problem. So their idea is that your thumb, if your thumb's accessible here easily, that you should pretty much be somewhere aligned there to easily push on this. So make sure you check that. I will post a picture as well here. I used, since like a dirt bike, Renthal grip glue, which it's a standard cement that'll adhere like a rubber plastic to the metal painted handlebars usually. So yeah, it's already gripping up pretty good. So I slid it, I just lubed up the inner of the start a bit. Well, got the glue all over this inner beginning part. And as you push on, it's gonna kind of spread that on. And then I put a strip kind of along the bar on the inside there. I couldn't show you guys because I have to time sensitive with the glue. But you'll want to get far enough on. There'll be a teeny gap most likely right in between there. And then when your cover goes on, so this guy, it'll be perfect. All right, I want to show you guys the timing on this. So if you draw a straight line from the top of the mode selector, right like that, you should be at just right there with that, and camera angle matters, but that's about correct from what spec is calling for. You're welcome to change it to your personal liking. I would just say be careful about your cable here and your clutch. Now, I do have one minor issue because I have a Viridian Cruise installed. You can also look at my other video about Viridian Cruise if you want cruise control on your 8R. It's digital cruise control. If you are pulling in, see, I am contacting, so you may need to adjust your clutch inward. This won't be an issue actually, like there'll be a lot of disengagement at this point. So just be sure you're not tilting this too far where the wire is getting hit. That would be bad. What's hitting is this plastic part, which isn't a huge deal. I can always change the positioning here if I don't like it, but I'm sure this will be still enough disengagement to fully relieve the clutch. I'm just not getting that last little bit. All right, so our wire here, it has to be somewhat loose. It's even in the diagram like this. So just make sure it's not rubbing on any body panels, especially when you move. And then obviously it's not getting hit by your clutch. And then our first zip tie is right here, and it's holding the wire up to there. So I'll just show you guys up into that guy. And then we need to go, I went over on top. You need to get inside this little securement wire, we'll say. And I put it on the top side of that because I'm thinking we're gonna have plenty of extra here. So, and then we will go down. So I'm gonna leave it hanging out so we can go to the next step. But when you turn, you wanna make sure there's no issues, no binding with any of your wiring ever. We've got both grips on, both the heated grips. And if you guys wanted to see the difference, there is a slight texture change that they made. Not sure I'll prefer it or not, but we'll find out. Anyways, this was rubber originally, and now it's a plastic piece on our left side, right? And this was just a straight, just a grip. So kind of this is replaced with the plastic element, which houses the button for enabling, and that has a light in there. And it's about the change. The little thumb piece looks a little different if you're wondering. It's a little shorter, that like where your thumb would kind of rest on this grippy part. And the end looks about the same. The texture, I guess, doesn't continue through on this. And on this side, we've got our standard one here. And as you can see, looks like there's a bit more thumb thickness, that this inner piece by this finger, that's a little thicker. And this will kind of be a little in the way. I wouldn't say it's going to really affect anything, but it's definitely there. And again, the texture does not continue to this end little part on this one, but not much different on the grip. Just design, really. Need to actually take off our fuel tank and stuff. We need to gain some access in here. Take off your rear with just your key and then lift. This rear will come off. You'll have some tools in here, and one of these bad boys is the exact one you need for your seat cover to come off. Do that. It is these two little plastic guys up at the tip, you're just gonna push in on that center little circle. It'll pops inward, and then you can actually just pull these out. Dear Lord, do not drop these. You'll probably never recover it. Those two plastic pieces are out. This guy should actually, I think it rocks forward and then straight out. Set things with things, highly recommended. Okay, we got two of those push tabs, and then these two bolts need to come out. So push tabs and bolt. Wait. If I recall, the push tabs didn't have to come out. Just the bolts. Just the bolts. I've taken this off once before. Just these two bolts. The push tabs can stay because they're part of like a whole plastic assembly here. So just do these two guys. All right, so these are 5mm. The two black ones here, 5mm. All your others, your three on the side, two on the side are 5mm as well, 5mm. This front one is flat. If you look, it's got a flat top almost, compared to the others are a chamfered edge. So it's very important to note that because it's got to go up here, and that one's a 4mm. And we need to take those off. That'll make this whole piece kind of loose, and I'll show you how weird this is to do. So there is one more little plastic guy right there. Has to come out. See if I can get it to focus. That little hole right there has to come out. Otherwise, you're gonna break something. So I've recorded this before. It's very awkward, but we got a clip. If you look down in here, let's see if I can show it to you guys. Okay, there's a clip that's down there, right under, boy, is it impossible to show you guys. It's like right here, there's a metal clip right there. That's him. So that clip has to come out, and this whole piece has to go in kind of, and then we can nicely kind of work it out. It's very odd. So you'll see the front, I am working down. Okay, so this lip, that piece where we just took that front plastic clip out, of course it doesn't want to focus. You see that is out now. It usually is on the inside of this guy, okay? Need that kind of first without breaking it. All right, so no guarantees you'll be able to see this amazingly, but some is better than none, I suppose. Okay, just like that. It's held in by another clip, and you got to get them both loose. And then you can slide it up and out, and you'll see there's no damage. There's no damage. Everything's in one piece. It's possible. This is your bolt that goes right here, your plastic screw there, and your two clips that are on the inside. And once you get this out, it'll make perfect sense. And I'll show you guys that real quick. Let's see. Okay. There's a clip here, and there's a clip here. And you have to get both of those guys forward and get out of those tongues. We'll call them those tongues sticking out. You have to get your plastic piece out of that to be able to rock forward. And then you'll notice on your piece, there's a plastic guy here, rubber grommet, we'll say. And that's kind of pushing on the fuel tank, resisting you. So kind of have to just gingerly work it. And if you want, you can see how oily that already is from riding miles. You could clean it if you are that much of a perfectionist. Go for it. Do this on both sides. All right, we're at our fuel tank, and we have to take our fuel tank off, or at least gain access. There's a deep 4mm that still needs to come off. You'll see kind of anchors in right there. And it is this guy needs to come off on both sides. All right, top guy, 10mm, comes straight out. Don't lose, just be sure this rubber grommet doesn't fall out. I can't remember if it can fall out, but should be a washer and a bolt, 10mm. Okay, side one, 5mm. We're just gonna loosen this guy. We're gonna get it mostly out. We're not gonna take it out because we want to remove our side ones first before we remove this, because the tank could shift or fall probably. So we'll just leave this one mostly just super loose, but the bolt just hanging on. All right, so we're just gonna recap quick. Front bolt, 10mm. Back, 4, I think. And then these two front ones, I think, are 4s as well. It's kind of in the body here. And then you will have a loose fuel tank. Totally loose. So you will need a second person. There are connections underneath that really suck to deal with. And I kind of wish you the best because I cannot possibly record it because it's not accessible.
All right, and I don't want to tell you can't do it. You can shift the tank back just enough like this to gain access. If it's too tight for you, Yeah, disconnect your fuel tank connections on the bottom, but please be careful not to break any of them if you do just set it like this gently.
All right, so if anyone was wondering, the Viridian Cruise got relocated to here. I zip tied around it, has a little hole right there on it. Zip tied around there, around some of this main wire loom. That will nicely hold it down and away. All the wires aren't gonna rub on anything. Well, this one's got a harness, so it won't rub on anything sharp. That will be a better position. All right, work with me. I'm doing instructions for an 8S. It calls to remove this right side plastic piece, which just has this retaining clip on the side. And then this little guy just pulls off. It goes on that little piece right there. So it pushes on. So then we should be able to take this guy out, I'm hoping. Okay, so call me dense, call me dumb, call me what you want, but we're gonna explain a few things that I can't show you on video because it's just hidden. Okay, so this one I figured out pretty easily. That hole right there, where you're seeing that flat spot of the frame, that is the spot they want you to prep and mount the, here we go, this guy. They want you to use the tape things and stick it to that spot on the frame, which we can do. That's not terrible. That one's easy. And then you're gonna run your wire down this way and then loop back up. The hard one, that was to find, because it just says 2 main harness. That's all it says. Terrible instructions. Right here, that 2-prong white guy, it's got this little white wrapped tape. This is a dummy plug. So you're actually gonna unplug that, and this is just a dummy, doesn't go anywhere. It's just a spare accessory coil. So we're gonna unhook this, and that is gonna go to our green and white, this guy. That simple. Just hard to find. All right, I will prove it to you. Just a dummy plug. Nothing on the end here. It is strictly just a dummy. So I had to cut the white tape there so I could actually pull the dummy off, because there's really not much extra. If you look at there's really not much extra wire there. You'll probably damage it trying to pull it out. So cut that, pull your dummy off, and then you're gonna attach there. To adhere to both this side is the correct side out. So that would be the angled cut. You can see right there, it's got the angle, should be outwards, because it matches up with the way this kind of is on the back side. So that angle cut, this side out. Isopropyl, my favorite, 70 plus 90%, whatever. It's 70% plus isopropyl, and isopropyl that spot we're gonna mount to, and then just stick your 2 adhesives on. I just moved them for no reason. Stick your 2 adhesives on. There's 2 on here, 1 on this side, 1 on that one, and 1 on the bike, and then it'll click in. So these are like when you press in, it's not Velcro. It's a little different. It's a little bit more aggressive than Velcro, I'd say. It's not as easily removable, so that'll be the best. All right, there's the one on that. And then if you could imagine, they click together. So what I'm gonna do, so I've stuck it to the one side and I stuck the other one onto it. So you'll see they kind of mesh together like that. I'm gonna test fit it by going way under all this and mounting it up on that piece. I'm gonna test it, and then I'm just gonna peel this off with my other hand and stick it on and hold it for a little bit, and it'll be good. Trying to show this best I can. So I've got it kind of mocked up against the metal part there. There's that hole, and the instructions actually call out to align it with that hole that's in the frame. So I'm actually just gonna hold away with the one hand, peel off this, stick it on right there. And then my wire is routed down here, and we will loop it back. The wire routed down through here. See it right there, those 2. You'll see there's a clip right here. You can actually open that and tuck them under that. There's plenty of space. And then we're out through here, and we've got our big double, and the right side one I've just routed along with this, zip tied here, and zip tied a little higher here. And make sure those don't have a burr on when you cut it, because the burr could cut wiring. So make sure it's kind of soft. So that routes down, so we've got both kind of coming in right up here. Those are our heater wires. Okay, so we've got our green and black connected to that white one that we took the dummy plug out of. We've got our 3 here, and remember we routed our 2 wires here, which have our other 3. So it's a matter of just joining these up with these guys and tucking all this down in here. And there's this double zip tie right here that it calls out to lock onto one of these guys. Once I reconnect these, I think it's this second one, the gray one. It calls out to use this to zip tie it to that wire to retain it all in place. So we'll kind of skip to that. The final button up. So this is a Viridian Cruise module. That tab, you won't have a few other things here that are a little different the way it works, because Viridian Cruise allows me to have cruise control on the bike. So this will look a little different, but all these got zip tied, the excess wires. Our main white plug is down there and plugged in, and our main harness to the controller, it does a U-turn, comes back up, and this will look a little different on yours. That's the Viridian wire that goes to the rear. So it should look much like this once you're back in. So remember to put your 2 clips back in, make sure this is all feels like it's proper and seated. Gosh, make sure all your connections are solid and clicked all the way and they're on, everything's happy. Make sure you have no sharp burrs that are gonna cut any wires, and no wires are rubbing on anything sharp. Those are some very key things to this whole experience that you'll have. So very important that the wires do not get chafed on anything. I'm gonna need to re-put on my fuel tank, which will be all these connections. And then once the fuel tank is on, we are going to test the bike before we put everything back together, because the tank has to go back on for it to check prime. Otherwise you're gonna get a code probably for stuff. So put the tank back on, make sure everything's not sitting on the tank. You don't feel like you're forcing the tank back on, and let's do a test. I am sorry, but the electric throttle body on these is loud. That's what all these bikes, that noise you hear, that's your throttle body. So it is 7 flashes each version, but it's either a triple flash, a double flash, or a single flash. I will show you. So we're gonna hold and let go, and this is off. So I was in level 1. So I'm gonna hold. It's gonna do a triple. That means we're in hot mode. It's gonna do this 7 times, but we can just hold again. So we're getting a double now, and then we can hold again, and we can skip right to single. And if we hold again, it will just go off. So I can already feel them actually hot. That's pretty cool. So installed and working. Bike seems to be running fine. Idled it, it's good. Let's put her back together. Our front bolt, our rear pin bolt, and then our side ones that hold on these panels a bit. I will say there's one kicker I want to mention. There's 2 rubber grommets just about right here. I'm not gonna be able to video them, but there's 2 rubber grommets. Those can fall off. So if your tank doesn't feel like rigid a bit, one of those rubber things probably fell and rolled. So be careful of those. Those have to kind of slide into a spot on the tank that kind of gives them a rubber plush bumper on the left and right side. All right, final reminder, we got like a 5 mil here that goes through. Make sure it comes through into this side. That is where it threads in. Got our 10 millimeter up here. And on each side right here, we've got these black ones with the flat top on them that go in to secure our side panel into the fuel tank right there. So you don't need to crank these. They aren't securing the tank at all. They are strictly securing the body panel. So do not force these. Do not send it. So our seat, make sure we get that bolt back in. Our seat secured, it just hooks in. Put the seat down, we'll get our rear seat put back on once we put our tool back in if you used it. And then we need to do the front of the bike. One tweak I highly recommend, I just kind of thought of it now that I've done this a few times. Not sure why it didn't click before. Maybe I'd already done it. This black one that we did to secure this panel, let's keep that out. I think that's gonna give us a lot more wiggle on this, so we don't have to squeeze through those tight areas. So now that you can see this is a little looser, I just took that black screw out. I'm gonna try to squeeze this down into its home. And it helps if you look before you send it here where your plastic tabs need to align to. And I'm actually right about there. We need to hook the front little tab under the black plastic. And then we need to push these plastic square parts into their little homes, which it sounds like they both did right there. Yes, both of them went on, so we're good. So our black plastic pin, let's grab that. So you want it to be like this, extended out. Actually, sorry, I don't know why I said that. You want it to be pulled back like this, where the male end is poking up. That will let us push it into place. And then you push the tab till it's flush. Make sure it's secured. Our black one down here, our chamfered one here, our chamfered same, these are two of the same here. Chamfered one here, and then our black one on top, and our flat silver one up at the front, sorry. And I'm gonna just match the same on the other side, and then I'll show you how to put the top cover on, and then I believe we're wrapped up. So this piece just kind of slides in. So you'll see the front, there's two little hooks, and the back, there's two little hooks, and they just set in, and then you slide it straight back, and it'll feel real secure. If it feels wobbly or something, one of your hooks ain't in. So our final ones, again, same as the others. Make sure you're poking out the top there, and we're just gonna push it into those front two little holes. Push it all the way in, and then push it until it clicks. Should be flush, just like that, flush. Should feel secure. Let's do the other one. That is it, we are done. We're all buttoned up. Our bike runs, our heater works, and super happy with the result. Feels super OEM. What I love about everything. Same with the Viridian Cruise. I think it feels super OEM, and that's why I love it. If it felt clunky, I'd really not enjoy it, so. All right, if anyone's still here, thank you so much for watching. Comment, like, subscribe on the video. It helps me out a ton. The channel's been growing amazingly. I wanted to just give a shout out to everybody that watches anything on my videos. It's just amazing that it's actually growing the channel altogether. So heated grip install. If you got any questions, comment. I will try to respond. I'm really responsive usually. And if you can, down below in the description, usually I link useful things like the manual to this, as well as our link tree, so you can help us out without costing yourself anything extra. Just kind of affiliate links. So thanks for watching. Have a good one, guys.